Welcome to the Empower Women in Menopause podcast with your girl, Trudy German. I'm an online personal trainer and wellness coach for women going through perimenopause. Over here, we talk about all things perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal, and how to thrive through this transition. We speak openly and candidly about what going through this change really consists of, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we also dismiss a lot of the myths or all the myths and talk about how this change affects you mentally, emotionally, physically, and professionally. So let's get into this week's episode. Good morning, gorgeous. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm so pleased with myself. Your girl batch record like 4 podcast episodes today. Hey. I'm literally dancing. Good morning. How you doing? So before we get into this week's podcast episode, I need a favor from you. If you haven't done so as yet, could you please rate and write a review on my podcast? Please. This way it will get pushed out to more ladies. And as I said, I want to help as many women as possible because perimenopause, menopause, it's something that if we have lived long enough to experience them, we are fortunate, it's a privilege, and it's not something that we have to go through feeling miserable. That happens because we're not educated. No one taught us. We don't know what to expect. So all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but now we're experiencing these changes. We don't know how to navigate it. Sorry. And this is why I spent so much time, so much research into learning about it and, of course, helping you. And the truth is, I want to help more women. I want to reach more women. So please share this podcast episode, not just this podcast episode. Share my podcast with others. When you share it on your story on the gram, definitely tag me. And let's jump into this week's episode. So this week's episode, I want to talk about my program. I realize in each episode, there is a trailer that's telling you, to schedule your call with me. And if you follow me on the gram, then you see me talking about it. Or if we chat in the DM, I'm talking about it. But I also realize I've never really spoken about what it entails. So I was like, okay, I got a podcast. I got my platform. I'm going to use it. So, hey. All right. So, my program came about because, of course, I am 45 and now it's 2024. So when I started going through perimenopause, I think it was 3-4 years ago, which was during the pandemic. Now, I live in Toronto. We were under lockdown for about 2 years or a little over 2 years. When the US, a lot of states, other parts of the world was only under lockdown for a few months. We were under it for few years. And I started experiencing a lot of symptoms. And at first I thought, okay, it was because of the pandemic, social distancing, can't really go out. It was rough. I even started drinking a lot of wine to cope, alcohol. And of course, I already did a podcast episode talking about alcohol, but I did a lot of that. And it was of course, liquor stores were still open here. It hit me when I went to take the garbage out in my house and I looked and I was like, wait, I finished that amount of wine in 1 week by myself. And that's when I was like, okay, something gotta give. What's going on here? But some of the symptoms I was experiencing, irregular periods, heart palpitation. In the summer, I would go outside and when the sun hit my skin, it would burn. It was like, what is this? I had to go right back inside. Even when I put on sunscreen, the boobs were growing. I like that part. I like that part. But I also started my muscle weakness. I was getting weak. I was experiencing so many different symptoms, the insomnia. And at first I was like, okay, it's the stress of the pandemic. And then when I was doing my workouts, because the gym was closed, when I was doing my workouts at home, what was happening was I would get tired 5 minutes in, and I'm like, something's wrong. Boom, went to the doctor, thyroid was overactive. Went on medication, took care of that, thought that a lot of my symptoms would be dissipate, would be gone, right? And some of them weren't, like the irregular periods. There were a lot of them that were still there. The ones that were really taken care of with the thyroid was I literally felt like I could not get full. It was like a bottomless pit. No matter how much I ate, I was hungry. My grocery bill was getting ridiculous because I was always hungry. I was losing weight and I just felt tired. Those disappeared, but the boobs, the insomnia, everything else was there. And I'm like, something's going on. And I started diving deeper and I started going back to a lot of my courses that I've taken in the past. And it was like, oh crap, you're going through perimenopause. And I did a lot of things and now I'm good. There's one symptom that I still kind of had, and I was like, you know what? Up until this day, I was like, I am not fighting this battle anymore. I give it up. And it was chin hair. And I justify it by saying, okay, but mine weren't long. It was like the stubble I would get where I would keep tweezers in the car. And I got tired of that because it was leaving scars. And I got laser hair removal. One of the best things I've ever done, one of my best investments ever. But now I have no other symptoms except the boob, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with that. And then I also realized a few things. I realized I had to change how I was eating. I had to also change how I was training. I could not train my body the same because it was like I literally physically could not. So then I did a lot of stuff that I teach my clients, and I took care of a lot of my symptoms. Started experimenting with some of my girlfriends, their symptoms dissipated. And that's when I was like, okay, so if I'm in the wellness space and I'm experiencing these issues, what about the women who aren't in the wellness space? How are they coping? How are they managing? So that's when I kind of zone in on you, a woman over 40 going through perimenopause. And in retrospect, I think everything happened for a reason, because had I not started going through perimenopause and experiencing some of those symptoms, probably I wouldn't have dived this deep in, because I felt like I was literally a walking nightmare, a walking zombie. I didn't know my body. I didn't recognize what was going on. Hey, I know you're here listening to the podcast and I appreciate you, but you may be listening and maybe thinking you don't want to wait an entire week for another episode to drop. So for that, you can definitely follow me over on the gram and TikTok at Train with Trudy, because I do share tips on a daily basis over there. So Instagram and TikTok, Train with Trudy, TRUDIE. Come on over, hit the follow button. So that's how I started my program, and my program specifically help women going through perimenopause. If a woman isn't there yet, like ladies in your 20s, if you're listening to this, sorry, I can't help you because our bodies are different at this stage. And I cater specifically to women going through perimenopause. So my program is called Thrive, Transform, and Glow Through Perimenopause. And I wanted the name to be something that you wanted, because I realized a lot of women were just on autopilot. They were just getting by. They were struggling through it. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be this way. You're not thriving because you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do because you don't have the support. you don't have the support because the people around you or even your doctor don't know what to do. My mind was blown when I learned of the amount of doctors that aren't trained to assist us with this, or some of them that are trained. It's, a lot of studies were done on men, on men, about our bodies. Like, hello, our bodies are different, our hormones are different. Or a lot of them, it was like, okay, well, that's how it's supposed to be. Here's some pills, suffer through it. That you just got to be like that for. And this can last for up to 15 years for some women. And I'm like, no, you can thrive and glow. So I want to tell you how my program works. So what we do is, if you're interested, you schedule your consultation call. We get on the phone, I ask certain questions. Some of the questions include, what do you want? What are your goals? That's important because I need to make sure that your goals align with what I can deliver, right? Top three things women come to me complaining about: insomnia, they're feeling lethargic, and they can't lose belly fat. Those are the top three complaints. So of course I can help with that. Certain questions I also ask, I need to make sure you don't have any medical issues. For example, if you have thyroid issues, either hyper, which is an overactive thyroid, or hypo, an underactive thyroid, I cannot assist you. Those require specialized skills that I am not equipped with. And what your girl ain't about to do is play Russian roulette with your health. There's certain things, diabetes, fibroids, PCOS, I can work around those, I know, but definitely the thyroid one, no. So we have that, what your goals are, and we take it from there. When we start working, the way it is right now, it's going to change in the fall. So right now, it is one-on-one. So we work in 12-week increments. I need a minimum of 12-week commitment, because it's going to take at least 12 weeks of us working together for you to start feeling different. Because what I want you to understand, the more severe your perimenopausal symptoms are, the more stressed your lifestyle has been. The more stressed your lifestyle is or has been, and a lot of the habits that cause stress are things you don't even realize. So within the first few weeks, we're reviewing those lifestyles, and we are making changes to those. I have women who, when we start working together the first week, they were sleeping 2 to 3 hours a night, and it wasn't even good quality sleep. They were tossing and turning. Within a few weeks, they're sleeping 5-6 hours a night. Some of them 7, some 9. I've even had ladies tell me, like, listen, even my husband is asking, hey, are you okay? You're sleeping a lot. They're like, they feel so much better. Even workouts, we don't even start working out for at least 4 weeks. Nutrition, the same thing. And I know you're thinking, so how are they getting results without working out? The reason I don't add workouts in at the beginning, at the first few weeks, is when you come to work with me, as I mentioned before, your body probably is already so stressed, you don't even realize how stressed your body is, because it's your body and it's been the quote unquote norm you've been operating in for so long. It's just normal. You're on autopilot, right? So then when we start working together, my first priority is to get you out of stress mode. Exercise does add stress to the body. Not really bad stress, but I don't want to add any stress to the stress you already have. I have to take away some of those stress, and then there's certain things, and make sure the hormones are a bit balanced before we start adding exercises. As I said, some women, we don't even add exercises 4 weeks in, some 6 weeks. I've had women where it's 10 weeks later, we've had to add wait before we can add exercise. And they're completely okay with this because I fully explain this, right? And they also see the difference of what I'm doing. And speaking of explaining, this is the difference between a coach and a personal trainer or a fitness trainer. Personal trainer, fitness trainer simply give you workouts and that's it. Nothing's wrong with that if that's what you want, if that's what you need. But when you're going through perimenopause, you need more support than that. You need a coach. A coach explain why certain things are happening, why we're doing certain things, why we're not doing certain things. And that's the difference. We don't just give exercise. So, and then when we get to the point where you're getting exercises, you're not just getting a lot of these HIIT exercises. The exercises you're getting at this stage, it starts with where you are, where your stress level is, what your body can take, right? And we slowly build from there. Eventually, we also get to the nutrition aspect and we start adding other things. So I figured, let me tell you about it. And now that you know a bit about how I work, and of course, if you want more in depth, if you think this is something that you would benefit from, the link is below. Definitely click it and schedule your call. And another thing that I wanted to add was, if you're not ready to work with me yet because of the financial investment, because I've had women who are like, they're not in a position right now to make that investment, what I would absolutely love for you to do, listen to these podcast episodes. Take notes when you listen. Implement the suggestions because they do work. I've had women where at first they were like, it's not a financial investment I can make right now, or they're hesitant because they've worked with other people who've done nothing. So I'm like, and then a few weeks or a few months they're back because they're like, I listened to your podcast. I took some of your tips from Instagram and I implemented them and I've lost inches off my waist. I'm sleeping better. I'm feeling better. So they see that and they're like, if following your tips and advice that you give for free has done this, I'm like, okay, so I'll get more when I pay. And of course, this is being recorded in June. And if you come on and schedule the call, come on over before September. The good thing is you'll get me one-on-one because in September, it is going to be changing to a full-on group thing. So as I like to tell my clients when we have the consultation, the good thing now is like when you have one child, you'd be my one child, you get all the attention. And then when you start getting 4, 5, 6 children, you're like, listen, you can't get all my time anymore. It got to be split. So definitely click the link in the bio. Not in my bio, sorry, that's for Instagram. Click the link below to schedule your call to come on over and let me help you. If you are always feeling tired, if you experience insomnia, if you are looking to lose belly fat, everything you're trying your way, all of that isn't happening, come on over. Let me help you. I would absolutely love to help you. Okay, darling? Bye. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And as I've mentioned before, my goal is to empower women in menopause. And by you sharing this episode with other women, like share it on your stories, then you will definitely be helping me help other women. So go ahead and share it on your stories. And please, when you share it, don't forget to tag me at Train with Trudy. Until the next episode, have a fabulous one.